You're probably looking at me saying she either is headed to the pool or she just got back from the pool. Her face is red, she's wearing her swimsuit, but you'd be wrong. Let's talk about reasons and excuses coming up. So we've talked before about how needs and wants can get really blurred, how something can turn into a need just from us using it regularly until it just becomes part of our daily life to the point that we think it's a need, when maybe originally it started out as a want. This morning, I mowed the grass, changed the cat litter, took out the trash, did the dishes, and boiled eggs to start prepping some meals. All of those things I did this morning, and that's why my face is red. Then I went and took a shower, washed my hair, put on my swimsuit, because this afternoon I'm going to go over and sit at the pool. It's supposed to be in the 90s. But I wanted to talk about reasons and excuses this morning because I feel like they're really similar to that wants and needs and how that gets blurred. Many times we will think what we are giving as reasons on why we can't do something. For instance, this morning, it would have cost me about $20 to pay someone to mow my tiny lot. We all know that I have a back injury. It's hard for me. I had to walk down to the maintenance shed, wait for the guy to come and check out the mower to me, pull the mower back to my lot, mow the grass, go back, take the mower back, and check it back in. It would have been really easy for me to just say, I'm just going to pay $20 to have someone do it. That's too big of a hassle, and I have a back injury, so I can't. But my back injury is not such where I can't mow a small lot. It was hard, but I got it done. Now, mowing my entire yard at home, that I would have to break up into a lot of little jaunts to get it done. But if you're following me, you can see how I could have made a reason out of something that probably would have been an excuse for me. Now, we're just talking about me. I'm trying to give some examples so you can analyze this on your own to see if it applies to you. It's just something that I thought about this morning and I wanted to share with everyone. I've been hearing a lot of short videos, especially on TikTok, on how people cannot afford to live. People cannot afford to buy groceries. And then I heard how like 72,000 is the average income and that Americans feel like they need 3 times that to get by. Now, I know I have people listening to this that are on Social Security, people that are on disability, people that have low incomes. I certainly have never made more than that 72,000 that is the average income. But a lot of people feel they're justified and that it's a reason why they can't pay their bills and they can't get ahead and they can't buy food. So I made a little flow chart of my own with my own opinions in here of what would happen if we made an excuse why we couldn't pay our bills, or if we just figured out how to make it work no matter what we were being paid or what our income was. And that is called living within our means. If you're living within the income that you make. If we made an excuse why we couldn't pay our bills, that would lead us to possibly being in more debt. We would be saying, it's not our fault. It's not our problem. It's just the economy. No one can pay their bills. That's just the way it is. I have to have these things, so I'm just going to get them. It's just going to put me more in debt. Everybody's in debt. And then when that continues, it's going to lead to overwhelm and we can't make our payments. That's a scenario of what could happen if we made excuses of why we couldn't live within our means. But if we decided to make it work, within our means, no matter what that looks like. We would be crunching the numbers. We would be consciously spending less and choosing our purchases more wisely. We would be putting plans towards our future because we knew that whatever we're doing today is affecting us in the future. And we would be taking responsibility for our choices so that when that outcome is the way that we have planned it, we can say, yes, I lived within my means. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to be tough, so I planned accordingly. Now, like I said, these are strictly my opinions, but I like to give people things to kind of think about as we are going forward through these trying times. The lines can become blurred between needs and wants. The lines can become blurred between reasons and excuses. I heard a guy the other day on TikTok. He did a short little jaunt and he had a ton of people making comments. No, I can't make it either. It's impossible. There's no way. And everybody was jumping on that bandwagon of making excuses of why they could not make it. And his scenario was that they eat out once a week on Friday. It's date night. That's non-negotiable. That their groceries for the two of them was $1,000 a month. That their pickup payment was over $800 a month. That their mortgage was $2,500 a month. And that they couldn't make it, that it wasn't possible. And I sat back and listened to that and thought, if I ever had $1,000 for groceries, even when I had 6 kids at home and 3 were boys and teenagers, I would have thought I was in hog heaven. I would have been so blessed to have that much to spend on groceries. I know that things cost differently now, but I also know $1,000 is pretty exaggerated for 2 people. Eating out once a week doesn't have to be non-negotiable. You can do a candlelight dinner. You could do a picnic. You can still spend time together without that costly bill. The pickup payment of over $800 is a lot of money, in my opinion, for a car payment. I have never had a car payment that high. I thought that that's what mortgage payments ran, but his mortgage payment was $2,500. And I personally would think $2,500 in a month would be a really good income. So see how opinions can vary. It depends on where you live, how you live, the type of house you choose, the type of transportation you use, the type of food you buy, where you buy your food. All of those things go into conscious reasons that we have for the budget looking the way it does. And only we can make that work. But just saying it can't be done, no one can do it, when a lot of people that watch me are doing it right now, to me sounds like an excuse. Let me know what you think. So let's take it down a notch into just everyday living, looking at reasons and excuses. It doesn't always have to be about money. I had an office manager, names will be withheld to protect the innocent, but I had an office manager one time. She had a really rough morning that morning and she was trying to get ready. She was running late. She had spilled some things. She said she had one eyebrow on and somebody was coming to the door. And she was like, I'm never going to make it. What am I going to do? And she answered the door with the one eyebrow. She took care of things. She got back on track and she came to work with 2 eyebrows. She didn't make the excuse, hey, I didn't have time to put the other eyebrow on, so it's just going to have to be like that. She made it work. So I know that's a crazy analogy, but if we can look at things like that, if we can find ways to make it work, even though it seems like there is no possible way to make it work, we will be glad in the long run. If she would have came to work with that one eyebrow on and worked the whole day, she would have been sorry that she didn't make it work. And that's kind of how our futures are. If we don't plan accordingly, we either pay for it now or we pay for it later, and sometimes it's both. We used to run a grocery store, and I've shared this with a lot of people. And we used to have people come in, and they sometimes would have to try 2 or 3 credit cards before it would go through. And we had one gentleman that would come in regularly, and he would have to try several credit cards almost every time that he came in. And he would be like, well, I guess she maxed this one out and didn't tell me. I guess she maxed this one out and didn't tell me. And you could tell he was embarrassed, but he also didn't know where they were at financially. And apparently, as a couple, they didn't know where they were at financially. So we can either be the person that's trying to figure out which card isn't maxed out, or we can begin to build that wood pile because we know winter is coming. Winter is coming every year. We're going to need a wood pile or a stockpile or money in our savings every single year. And if we just are short-sighted on what our needs are right now, which may actually be wants, it can make it where our fire goes out. So I hope that this has been encouraging, maybe thought-provoking for you. And if it is, please give me a thumbs up. I would love to hear your comments below. Like I said, all of these are my personal opinions from a country farm girl living in rural Kansas. I know my life is different than you all. I'm wintering right now in South Texas. I'm living the city life right now. And honestly, I've been able to save as much or more money living in the city than I was at home. Granted, I'm in an RV. It's not fancy, it's not luxurious, but sometimes if that's what is living within our means, that's what needs to happen. And so that's what my life looks like, because I'm trying to keep that wood pile stocked so that my fire doesn't go out. Have a great day, and thanks for watching today.